I mean, I kind of have a chip on my shoulder this year. That's pretty much what it is. Like I'm just like extremely motivated and driven to do this, and um, yeah, because of all this work that I put in, it's like I've been able to book more gigs and I've been able to like travel a little bit more. I mean, obviously, I'm not where I want to be. I still feel like there's a long way to go, but now I feel like I'm on the right track. You know?
Hey, all right. So I am now on the line with a Mr. DJ Selfie, who
What's up?
is you are a Latin DJ as well as a dancer. You are a member of the New York Sensual Movement. And if I'm not mistaken, you were born in the Philippines, but grew up in Jersey, but currently live in New York City. Is that proper?
I don't live in New York. I live right outside of New York, but that's okay.
All right, for sure, bro. How you doing today, Patrick?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm very excited to talk to you, man. I appreciate you taking time out your day to talk to me, man.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, bro. I guess I want to start this out, but I'm very curious to hear, man. Tell me about your childhood growing up in the Philippines, man. What was that like for you?
What was it like? It's kind of hard to remember. I mean, all I remember is just going to school, you know, and um, it was just very different from here. Also very hot. It was tropical, and I actually took that for granted, you know. So once I came back, I realized, wow, like, I actually love my country, where I came from. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
eventually, I like to go back because all my family's there, like most of my family. So just me and my parents and my siblings here, and got a couple aunts and uncles in California, but that's it.
Okay. I'm curious, man. Say, growing up in the Philippines, man. I've never been there, man. And you said it was different than the U.S., man. Can you put into words, how the Philippines is different?
Um, hmm. This is the culture, you know.
Okay.
Um, I guess people are a lot nicer to each other in a way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and food is great. The weather is great. So,
Okay. I understand, bro. Tell me this, man. I guess what were some of your childhood hobbies, growing up, man?
um, hmm. I was into playing basketball, and I like to draw also. So I was very big into the arts growing up.
Okay. I understand that, man. Was music was that how important was music in your childhood? Let me ask you that then, or in your household.
Well, when I was still in the Philippines, music wasn't that important to me. I wasn't really that into it until we moved here. So that's where things kind of shifted. Um, I wanted to be an artist growing up, actually, in high school, but then I kind of felt like my parents were not encouraging me. So I was kind of like a rebel. I was in that phase. So I decided to, and that's when I got into music in like middle school, like sixth grade or whatever. Started listening to like hip hop, um, like Puffy, like Mace and all those guys. Nas, Biggie, you know. But then I also got into rock music, like the heavy metal stuff.
Okay.
So like Korn, Limp Bizkit, all those guys. So I was back in the
That's the
late
'90s
'90s.
right there. Yes, '90s right there.
Exactly, yeah. So that's when I got into playing guitar. So that's how my interest in music started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So tell me this real quick, man. What made your family move from the Philippines to New Jersey?
I would say we were one of the more fortunate ones because my dad was a computer programmer, and he just happened to be very good at his job, and we were one of the fortunate ones where he got hired over here in Jersey, so he was able to move everybody here as a result of that.
Okay.
So
So hmm, I guess tell me this, man. I'm very curious to hear, man. Coming to the U.S. at such an early age, and I don't want to like say sound negative, as an immigrant, man. How was that first, year, how was that transition to America for you, man? You and your family, how was that transition like for you all?
Um, it was a little awkward, to be honest. I mean, I knew how to speak English, but but it was still tough because the culture was just different here. So you had to adjust. You had to like kind of figure out how people talk to each other. So that sort of thing. And also, I was just hitting puberty, so you're kind of like just discovering these things that you weren't doing before. Like, you start to like girls. I mean, I already like girls before I came here, but like this time, coming into sixth grade, I was surprised to see people already having like boyfriends and girlfriends. I was not exposed to that, back where I came from. So it's just one of those things that you're like starting to learn about yourself as you're growing up. Yeah. So
I understand that, man. This is just this question just kind of came to me. I'm curious. It, Hey guys, if you could leave a like and subscribe and share this with the people, that would mean the world to me and my channel. I really would appreciate that. But let's just jump right back into this episode. Curious, is I guess did you grow up in maybe a very religious household?
it was pretty religious, but it's not as strict that it sounds.
Okay.
Like my parents pretty much made us go to church every Sunday.
Okay.
So it wasn't until I was like 17 that I decided I can't do this anymore. I can't. I'm not gonna do what you're telling me to do anymore. I'm gonna do my own
Okay.
thing. So yeah.
Okay. I understand that, man. I definitely understand that, yeah. So you moved, you moved to America, man, or to New Jersey. Um, was was music kind of your way of, I guess, music and the arts? Was that kind of your way of making friends, of connecting with new people?
In a way, yes, but it was also like my escape from
Okay.
everything
Mm,
because I also felt like I didn't belong. Felt almost kind of felt like an outcast. I mean, I had a few friends, but I still felt like I wasn't like, I don't know, part of everybody else. So that's why music was a big part of my life early on, and it still is. You
yeah.
know,
I
so
understand that, man. So you told me though. So you said around 17 you started to rebel. You got into arts and everything. Um,
yeah.
I guess after you graduated high school, was that the game plan? To become an artist, or was there
Well,
something different?
well, here's the thing. Right before high school graduation, I didn't know like what college to go to, but at the same time, I just didn't want to do what everybody else was doing, which was go
College.
to a 4-year college, get your degree, and just work 9 to 5. I felt like that wasn't the life for me, so I wanted to do something different. So I decided I would go to SAE, which is stands for School of Audio Engineering. So that was in New York. So right after high school, I went there for a year to do that program. So I went there and I learned everything from music production, audio engineering, whatever you can think of that's related to that category. And I figure I'll do that and I'll start working in that uh, in that field. So
Hey, that sounds legit, man. So I know what an audio engineer is, man. But I guess going back to that time, what was, I guess what would have been the ideal job for you coming out of that school? Like, what would you have preferred?
um, well, I wanted to be an audio engineer or a recording engineer, working with like independent artists, or like popular rock bands, because that's what I was into back then. So I wanted to do that. I just didn't know how to get there successfully. I mean, the one way that we were told that we were supposed to do is to intern at a studio and work for free. But I also didn't want to do that. I mean, looking back, kind of felt like I should have done that, to really learn. But I kind of decided to take a different route. So when I was still living at my parents' house, I decided to start my own recording studio. So I had like a so I signed up for a credit card and started buying all this equipment, and you know I started my own studio at my parents' basement. And then back then we still had MySpace, so I started like advertising there and on Craigslist, and I started getting bands over at my parents' house, and we started recording there.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So hold on. So real quick, man, because I'm pretty sure myself and others, but I don't know much about audio engineering. So when you say audio engineer, I'm thinking of like the person who's like in the studio, like on the mixers, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's also like learning how to set up all the equipment, things like that, and it's also involving like live sound. Like when you go to a concert, there's that guy who's always setting up the microphones. He's behind the mixer. You know, those things. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
Doing like the sound check, things like that. So I actually did that too for like 4 years. It was a concert venue in Jersey, like South Jersey. So I did that for a while, and then I got sick of it because I was doing it every Friday and Saturday night, and I literally just had no social life anymore doing that. So I got burned out, and I left.
Was was the money good as a sound engineer?
It was not.
I said I heard they make good money. Okay.
I mean, if you work for like one of those bigger venues, for example, then yeah, obviously the money's gonna be good. But me, I was making like $100 a night. That's it. That's really nothing compared to DJing now, where I make more.
Yeah, and so $100 a night, and you probably have to stay for the whole concert, right?
I would get there by I would say 8:30, and then I would leave at like 2 a.m.
Yeah. Wow. For a
So
hundred
that's
bucks.
that's my Friday Saturday night.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand, man. Now I want to ask you, I forgot it though. So I guess it'll come back to me. So tell me though, man. So you're inviting all these people over to your house, man. How do your parents feel about you having rock bands in your basement?
Um, they just dealt with it. Yeah. Yeah, they were cool about it for a while, but obviously I could not sustain that for a long time.
I understand, man. I understand. I
Yeah.
definitely understand that. So yeah, you're getting into the audio engineering space. And I guess during that time period, man, are you feeling fulfilled? Like, are you actually loving it? Are you loving having the home studio at all, or are you getting tired of that at all, or?
I enjoyed it for quite some time, and then after a while, when you start doing the same thing over and over, you kind of just start looking for change. So, um, so by chance, I think it was, I think 2010, 11. I started messing around with like, do you work with Apple, like Macs at all, or no?
I'm talking to you on the Max a little bit.
Okay, so in the Mac they have this software called GarageBand,
Right, right, right.
and it comes with like these like loops, So and there's like a ton of them, so you can kind of like play around with it. So started messing around with GarageBand and started putting together like my own little songs with it.
Okay. Yeah, you become a producer, right, or what?
Yeah, pretty much. So I started practicing it, and I thought like, hey, this stuff that I've been coming out with is actually not too bad. So I started practicing, and then I started. Um, I got out of using loops. Instead, I started like sampling like actual songs. So that's
Yeah, I
when
love
I
I love sampling. Yeah.
yeah. So that's when I started getting to making hip hop beats.
Hey,
And then
were you using vinyl or how were you crate digging or what?
no, I was just like sampling straight from whatever song I could find on the internet. So, but mainly in the beginning, I was working with like jazz music. So like Bill Evans, I downloaded like pretty much all of his songs, and I started like sampling from his discography. And then, so 6 months later, I kind of graduated into using Logic because their GarageBand's more like the beginner
Right, it comes with
version.
the Mac, but Logic you got to pay for Logic. That's more so the professional and stuff, right?
Yeah, you gotta pay for
Mhm.
Logic, but I got a hookup, so I didn't.
I
So
get you.
anyway, um, so I transitioned to Logic, and it was actually pretty easy because once you know GarageBand ins and outs, Logic is more like the natural transition because it's more like the I guess it's more of the advanced version,
Mhm.
and it gives you way more options than what you had before. So I started doing that, and then I started putting my music out on SoundCloud, and I started getting a lot of attention, and I started working with a bunch of like independent, hip hop artists. And but actually, even before that, I was working with quite a few of them before I started like making my own beats. I think it was like back in 2007 that I met a few hip hop artists, and we started recording together. So pretty much all these years from '06 to like 2011, I had all my practice with recording and mixing and mastering and things like that. And now I'm just like, doing things on my own. Yeah.
Wait, tell me, what was I guess what was your your producer name?
My producer name was Audio Doc.
Audio die. Shut up,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It's the same with this audio doc. For people. So for someone who may be, aspiring to become a audio engineer or a sound engineer, man, could you give them any words of advice or hits or tips for them to accomplish that dream?
Um, don't be like me. I mean, like do what like other people will tell you. Like they tell you to intern at a studio and work your way up. I would say do that
That was
because
my question. Yeah.
that's this take the safe way route. Don't be like me and be egotistical and think you can do things on your own because it doesn't always work out that way because there's always a lot of risks involved and you're gonna fuck up a lot, which I did. And I'm still fixing my mistakes. So
And please, I hope you don't mind like going in depth on it, man. Like I said, two-part question. You told me that you said maybe you should have gone to a free internship,
right.
but you did it. So can you tell me, I guess one, how did you fuck up if you don't mind going into that, and and how what would you have learned from the free internship? Well, what would you have done differently?
Well, because if you're doing that, you're actually learning from professionals that have experienced success, as opposed to like learning everything on your own, which I did. So that's the only difference. And you can actually learn faster. I mean, it may not be pleasant at first because you're gonna be like bringing them food and coffee, and you're just gonna be like watching from the sidelines, and you think you should be in that mixing board doing all the work like that they're doing, but in reality, you don't really deserve that spot yet. You gotta like work for it. So
So tell me this, man. And I don't know if you can even put this into words, man, but like, I guess when you're trying to master a track, like, what are you looking for? What exactly are you doing? Is it strictly just adjusting audio levels, or like, what's happening? What is that process?
well, the way I see mastering is like you have to compare your song to a song that's actually commercially released, and you want to play it side by side, and you know once you play the first one and then you play yours and it sounds like it's a natural transition, then it's a good track. So that's pretty much how I approach mastering. But basically, you want to do everything in mixing. You want to polish everything there, and then mastering is just like making little tweaks here and there. That's pretty much what I see mastering as. But I could be wrong. So
I answer. Well,
don't.
so tell me. That's fine. Yeah, I won't quote you. So tell me about mixing. Then, what is your process for when you're mixing a track? Then,
Uh, my process. I mean, well, let's just bring it to the bachata thing because as you know, I make bachata remixes. So for me, it started out for this year. Like I decided to do things different because when I first started, all I did was like just add bongos on top of the track and then make sure the mix is good, and then that's it. Call it a day. And then eventually I switched to, I started recording my own bass, um, a little bit of my own guitar, but
that's awesome, man.
it still wasn't how I wanted it to be, you know. And then eventually I met a guy who plays bass. He's actually a professional bass player from Colombia. His name's Camilo, and we started working together, and he started recording bass for me. But the problem with that is, I was still kind of doing the same thing. I was just taking the original song and I'm just still like putting instruments on top of it when that's not how you should be remixing things. The way you should be Remixing is taking the acapella, which is just the
Just the lyrics. That's what I'm asking you. You have to find. So what happens if you can't find the acapella? Did that happen?
um yes, but nowadays I can pretty much remix any song that I want because I figure out a way to do it, but
That's
not
awesome,
everybody.
man.
But
So you see, you can actually tone down everything else but the vocals.
yeah,
That's awesome. Okay, that's awesome, man.
I
Hell
mean the
yeah.
way people do it nowadays is filtering, so they just filter out the vocals and then they try to
And,
EQ everything else out.
and that's strictly probably software or what?
Yeah,
Okay.
use your whatever software you have.
That's awesome. I used to
But
DJ. I mean, I didn't tell you. I used to DJ myself, man. So yeah, I stopped though, man. So yeah, DJ's coming a long way, man. That's awesome.
yeah, so a lot of people do that, but it's not always effective because, for example, if you have like a reggaeton song, most of the time you're still gonna hear those reggaeton drums in the background, when you try to filter it. So a lot of times people, they look for the cover on YouTube where it's just somebody else singing it, and then they have the acoustic guitar, and then they filter it.
And I've noticed that. I've actually noticed that, man. A lot of bachata remixes will be the cover remix.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I know, and okay, that makes sense. I understand that.
Because it's
Okay,
just easier to work with.
right. I imagine you know DJ Soltrix, right?
Yes, yes, he was actually one of my main inspirations when I
Dude, that
started.
dude is nice. I love DJ Soldiers, man. He's really good.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody plays the song, so everybody knows him. Like if you don't know him, then you really,
Okay, all right. I don't know
yeah,
if he's popular, so he is popular then.
yeah. He's like number one,
Oh,
essentially.
that's so awesome. He is amazing. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I want to get into all that, man. So tell me though. You said you're 18 years old, 17, 18, and you go to that, school engineering school.
Right.
Um, how do you get introduced to the Latin scene? How does that come about?
Yeah, that was by accident actually. So I think I was like 23, and I was just like bar hopping with some friends, and we just hear like salsa music, playing from the outside. So we decided to just go in there and check it out, and we see all these people dancing. I was like, wow, I like the music, and people are dancing like differently. It's actually people like real dancing that I was witnessing here. And a funny story, I was trying to hit on a girl there, and things didn't really work out because I didn't know how to dance. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn how to dance. So I started like searching for dance lessons around me, and that's pretty much how things started. I just took some local dance lessons, and it took me 2 months before I actually started going out and asking people to dance. So
So, all right, so tell me this, man. Where were your first class at? Do you remember the studio and the teacher?
I remember the name. Her name was Brandis. It was in like Edison, New Jersey. So I started learning from her. It was actually on one salsa,
Okay.
and then I discovered like Juan Calderon. I don't know if you ever heard of him,
I don't think so.
but he's popular here in Jersey and New York, and right now he travels around the world teaching.
Oh, I
So
need to get him on the show, man.
so he's definitely come a long way, and
Uh,
and even like years later, he still became my teacher in bachata. Like he taught me a lot of things that I know now still. So he was one of my main influences in dancing as well.
okay, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to hear about this, man. Tell me about your beginner stage in salsa and bachata, man. What was that like learning to dance those?
Oh man, I was obsessed. I was taking lessons like 3, 4 days a week, and then I'll go dancing like Friday, Saturday, even Sunday sometimes. So did that for like the first 6 months, and then I learned on two. So and that's from just watching videos for on two, and then eventually I took a little bit more lessons. But the thing that helped me was I had a friend that I practiced with on a regular. So at first we would just do on two, and then when I transitioned to on two, that's when we started practicing more of that, and then it's just a lot of practice, observation, like watching videos, and that's pretty much how I got used to it. But every now and then I would slip back to on one, and then I'll go back to on two when I realize I made a mistake. So it's just one of those things, man. really get there unless you practice a lot. But it's just like everything else. You gotta apply your skills and get experience.
I definitely understand that, man. I definitely do, man. So
Yeah.
so yeah, you said you get introduced to salsa and everything. You're dancing and everything. I guess what makes you decide to start remixing bachata songs? How far along the line was that? Down the line was that?
Uh, that was not too long ago, actually. That was 2016, like around April. Um,
And when did you start taking classes? When you think that was?
Classes, I would say 2013. Like,
Okay,
I learned bachata on my own from just like the basics, and you just use like salsa patterns.
it is
That's
kind of sometimes.
that's what I did in the beginning. And actually, the first bachata that I've heard was, I think it was 2008. It was Aventura and Extreme. So those were the first two artists that I knew in the
Mhm.
beginning.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when I first heard it, I was like, wait, this is not salsa. This is like something different. And I was like, wow, I really like the guitars that they're playing here. Like this is like my, what I would like to do if I was playing guitar. So I definitely like bachata, but I was still heavily invested in the salsa.
Okay,
And it
okay.
wasn't until like about 5 years later that I got into bachata.
When did you start playing guitar?
16. That's when I
Okay.
started. Yeah.
And so let me ask you this then. I guess in this kind of two-part question, how do you think your background in guitar, one, how has that affected your DJing and like your music career, if you understand me?
Yeah.
And two, how do you think it has affected your musicality as far as salsa and bachata?
Well, it definitely makes you better when it comes to like timing. Like you just know you're just better at timing, in my opinion.
I agree
So,
with you, so I understand. Yeah.
and when well, right now I don't really play guitar in my songs anymore because I have someone else who's like way better. He's like he does it for a living, you know. So I let him do that, and I pretty much know what I'm looking for. When I listen to a song, like it doesn't even have to be by me. It could be by somebody else, and that's usually what I. It's one of the factors that I use when it comes to like picking songs for my DJ sets. You know, like if you don't have like good guitars in your bachata, then I'm not gonna want to play your song. That's pretty much how I see it. So,
Yeah, I understand, man. So, let me ask you this thing, man. I'm very curious. What compels you to remix a song? Do you only remix songs you like, or like is it songs you're like, I think I could do this song better? Like, what makes you want to do that?
it definitely has to be a song that I like, but you also have to consider other factors like tempo, for example. Like it has to be a certain tempo where you can speed it up, but not too much where it just sounds weird. It has to sound good when you speed it up or slow it down. But um, but yeah, you have to like the song. And for me, I also like songs that people grew up with too. Like that gives you that nostalgia. For example, like I just remixed a Backstreet Boys song, and then once I played it, everybody was like, "Oh shit, that's the song."
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah. So it's always fun to play those songs. It's like everybody knows the words.
Uh-huh. And that makes it dance so much better when you know the lyrics to the
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, exactly. And I have another one too that I'm coming out with pretty soon. And I think this one's really going to surprise people because I feel like no one really thought of remixing it. Or maybe they
Oh.
have, but they don't have the resources to make it happen. Like for example, I don't believe there's an acapella out for this song because I guess it's so old. I mean, it's not that old. It's like maybe like 20 years old. But if it's like from the 90s, it's kind of hard to find an acapella for it.
So how difficult for you was it to make the track? Or to even, I guess, get acapellas?
It's well, I have my secret way of getting the acapella that only I think only very few people know about it. So, and this is pretty much my competitive advantage over other remixers because I can pretty much take almost any song that I want and remix it if I
That's
wanted to.
awesome. That's awesome, man.
And it's not like, you know, I don't know. It took me a long time to get to this point. It took a lot of hours and hard work to get to this point. So it's not like I just like, did it out of the blue,
Uh
you
huh.
know. So, because this year compared to last year, I kind of felt like I was, I don't know. Well, let's say like 2007, like that's when I started getting more popular. People start to know more about me. And then 2008, I kind of slacked off a bit. I didn't work hard as much. And then when this year started, I was just like, you know what? I can't, I can't do this anymore. I gotta like put way more work than I ever have in this if I want to get somewhere. So that's what I pretty much started doing, and I had to change it now. I can't be, just putting bongos and bass into the original song and then call it a day. I can't do that anymore. I gotta
Mm,
do everything from scratch, get the acapella, and then you know take it from there. So that's
mm.
pretty much what I started doing from day
Yeah.
one of this year.
Okay. I say you probably the final product probably benefits so much more to the extra work you put into it, though, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like my songs have way more longevity now, and it's crazy because um, I actually did way more work this year than I expected. Well, my goal was I wanted to put out 4 albums and with 15 songs each. So that's 60 in 1 year.
Yeah.
And right now I'm already on pace to finish the fourth one. I'm almost finished with the fourth one, and I still have plenty of time
Yeah.
to make more before the end of the year.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
And and every song is like a legit bachata. Like you can have all the instruments that it requires, like the segunda, the quinto, like the bass, the lead guitar has everything that you need to make it like a legit bachata. So
And so I'm curious, this output that you're seeing right now, is that just because you kind of what can you put a reason to why? Is it because you fell in love with the process, that you fell in love with what you're doing, or
no,
what changed for you?
I kind of have a chip on my shoulder this year. That's pretty much what it is. Like I'm just like extremely motivated and driven to do this, and um, yeah, because of all this work that I put in, it's like I've been able to book more gigs and I've been able to like travel a little bit more. I mean, obviously, I'm not where I want to be. I still feel like there's a long way to go, but now I feel like I'm on the right track. You know?
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Tell me this real quick, man, because I really don't know much about it, man. But as a DJ, man, how competitive is that field? Trying to book gigs and DJ festivals or events, man. How competitive is that?
It's extremely competitive. Like if you want to be at the biggest festivals, you're not going to get that top slot. It's hard to get that top slot. You have to give them like a really good reason to put you there. Like let's say for example like Soltrix, he's the most successful DJ. So anytime you're at a congress with him, you're never gonna get the top slot. He's gonna get it, and you're either gonna be before him or after him. And that's just how it is right now. But the way I see it, it you can always change it. You know, so that's why I'm putting in this work right now. So I'm just
What's
gonna
a
do the best I can, and I'm not here to take anybody's place. I always feel like there's everyone can eat the way I see it. We all have a chance to do that. So maybe we'll just see what happens.
and I'm curious. I guess like, what is the top spot for a DJ? Is there like a prime hour that you want, a prime
Yeah,
top spot?
exactly. There's a prime hour.
And what is that? Can I ask?
That's usually I would say like 1 to 3 a.m.
That's the prime time?
Yep.
Really? I thought it would be a little bit earlier, maybe like 9 to 12 or something. No, that's
No,
that's too early.
no, 9 to 12. That's when they have performances.
Oh, exactly. Okay.
And then usually dancing starts at like 11 or 12, and then it goes until like 6 a.m. usually, like on the big ones,
Yeah.
6 a.m.
Okay.
to
Okay.
8 a.m. Like I don't know if you know about DC Bachata, but their dancing goes until 8 a.m. You know.
I've been to a couple of festivals, man, but I don't think I could dance that long, man. That's way too late. That's way too early or late. However you want to look at it, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, man. I guess are you able to do this full time now?
No, I have a 9 to 5 job, so I work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and then I come home and do this, and then I DJs at night. Whenever I get booked. Usually in New York, I DJ like Wednesdays and Fridays. Yeah,
And
and
so
then
it's
every now and then I get to travel. That's about it. But for the most part, I'm working on my songs.
okay. So tell me this then, man. I guess, and it's probably obvious, but what are your future goals, man? How would you define success for your DJing career?
For me, I think I had this conversation with this singer like a couple of weeks ago, and um, he was kind of an inspiration to me now because he said that the bachata scene is just like so small compared to like the actual music scene. And when I knew that, I already knew that, but like just for him to confirm it, I was like, you know what, I gotta go beyond the bachata scene at some point. I can't just stay within this little like field. So for me, I want to go beyond that, and I want to be able to work with almost anybody, almost any artist or musician. I want to be able to work with them eventually, and I also want to travel and DJ at the same time and just do what I love. That's pretty much it. And yeah, so
I get you. That's perfect. That's perfect, man. So wait, and when you say work with indie artists, I guess are you referring to maybe producing a track for that artist, or what do you mean?
yeah, exactly.
I understand. I understand. That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. So
Yeah.
so I guess hmm, I want to like maybe give some value to some people, and I feel like I might have already asked you this, man, but well, maybe not. So for maybe someone who is an aspiring DJ, they want to be out there, playing music, man, for the crowd and everything, man. What advice can you give them? I guess for one, becoming a DJ, and I guess really maybe
Hmm.
more so, um, how to create a good atmosphere for the audience. If you get me, how to play the right music, how to
Yeah.
make the best night. If you understand me.
Gotcha. Well, the thing is, like, you have to love dance, and you have to put yourself in the perspective of a dancer. Like, what would you want to hear if you were on that floor right now? Like, what would you want to dance to right now? So, I guess I have my own tastes, but at the same time, you also have to, I don't know, you kind of have to feel the energy of the room that you're in. Like, whether you want to play something more upbeat or slow it down, where people can like dance closer to each other. You have to like kind of feel it out. So, but the funny thing was, I never wanted to be a DJ because I always wanted to be out on the floor dancing. But when I started remixing, and I just wanted my music to be heard in the beginning. So I started sending it out to different DJs, but at the same time, I felt like they weren't getting enough the playtime that they deserved. But also this time, um, I'm in the reserves for the Air Force. So during this time, it was 2017. I was deployed. So when I was over there, it was a lot of hard work when I was there, and I I missed dance a lot. And during that time, I was like, you know what, life is short. I should like start DJing and just play my own songs. I should just do it myself if I can't get other people to do it. So when I came back, that's when I started like DJing. I talked to Anna. I was like, you know what, I want to buy myself a controller, and whenever Willie, he's our main DJ. Whenever Willie has you know, he wants to like call out or something like that, I'll take his place and I'll just play as a backup. So that's how I started. I didn't really want to be like a main DJ or anything like that until I decided to take it like seriously later on.
And so tell me this then, man. I'm very curious to hear, man. Tell me about your beginner stage in DJing. What was that like for you?
I think it was a little rough in the beginning. I had a lot of songs already, but transitioning between songs was something that I was just like learning on the fly. But really did give me some pretty good tips on how to choose a song. So I started using that in the beginning, and yeah, it was a long process to get better. Um, and also looking for music. So that's another thing too. Like you have to keep looking for music. You have to keep updating your playlist. You got to keep up. You can't just play the same old songs the whole time. And people tend to do that, and um, but I don't think they're gonna go outside of where they are if they don't keep up with the times. You have to always play current music. So for me, every week I'm always updating my playlist. I always have something new, so that keeps things fresh and you know keeps people from getting bored, in my opinion.
I don't. I mean, you don't have to answer this question, man. I don't know if you're giving away secrets, but I guess how do you stay up to date with the most current music? How do you go about that? Is it just
It's
the
a,
radio or like top 10 radio top
no,
10?
it's actually pretty easy. I usually just follow all the popular dancers on social media, like Instagram or Facebook, and also other DJs and other bachata artists. And usually they'll make an announcement on what songs they have coming up next, and then I just go download it once they're out. It's very simple. It's not a secret.
Shut up, I understand, man.
You just gotta pay attention, to
Mm,
who's out there.
yeah.
And YouTube is also a great source of
Oh
music.
man. Yeah.
Like this past Friday, there was like a ton of reggaeton, like new reggaeton that just came out, and they're like mostly fire. I was like, I downloaded all that shit already, and I'm ready to remix some of these, you know,
Legit,
in the
bro.
next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So so you just
Yeah.
gotta pay attention all the time
Pay
to keep up.
attention. Okay, all right. I understand that, man. I
Yeah.
understand that. Um, let me ask you this then, man. So you've been doing this for a while. Wow, you've been, I guess, in the music scene for quite a long time, man. Let me ask you this, man. What are some things that you've learned from, music as well as dancing? What are some things you've learned from those two things that you're able to use or, translate to your everyday life?
uh, Everyday life. I feel like that's kind of a broad question. Can you like be more specific,
All right, so let's
maybe?
just okay. Let's just go with maybe let's go with DJing for a crowd. When you're DJing
Right.
an event, man. What are some things that you learned from trying to connect with that crowd? What has that taught you anything that you're able to use outside of the music
Um,
scene?
I would say for my work, because I work with IT, I always work with like different clients, like executives, corporate people. So I'm not as shy as I used to be. I'm more outgoing with them. I find it way much easier to be friendly to those people and like know how to be under pressure. But at the same time, I would also credit the military for that. You know, since you know when you first start, it's like you're getting yelled at for like every day, and then you get used to it, and then it doesn't bother you anymore. So it's a lot of different things that come into play.
Okay, I understand that,
Yeah.
man. Um, so I guess I really want to thank you, Patrick. For taking time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
And I think you added me on Facebook earlier, right?
that is correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you in the Coast Guard? I think I read that on
That
there.
is correct. I actually am in the Coast Guard, man.
Respect, man. Respect.
I appreciate that, bro. I definitely
Yeah.
do, man. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
I
you
can
know how it
finish.
is.
Oh yeah, I know the military, man. I remember boot camp was nothing but getting yelled at, man.
Yeah, it's like you're in prison, and you have
Oh,
no
bro.
choice but to do what they tell you.
Oh man, I hated boot camp. So yeah, I'm actually yeah, I've only been in for like 2 years now, man. But yeah, I'm definitely in it.
Word, word.
But I guess let me ask you this real quick. What are some of your upcoming events? What do you have going on in your life?
Upcoming events. We have the New Jersey Bachata Festival coming up in October. So I think that's like around the 12th, 11, 12, that whole weekend. And then I have another event in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's called Bachata Blast. And then I think I have a couple more events in November coming up. And I believe one of them's in Miami.
Yeah, that's gonna
So
be
that's what I
cool,
have
man.
so far. Yeah.
Okay.
And then a few things in New York,
Uh,
obviously. So yeah.
okay. I don't. Yeah, I'll say this album. I went to the Miami Salsa Congress back in 2017, and I got to see DJ Sotrix play live. Man, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, he definitely takes DJing to the next level.
Oh man. Yeah, dude, I really
Well,
like him. Tell me this real quick, man. What are some of your? Oh, I'm sorry. How can people get in contact with you? How can they reach out to you?
I have my Facebook. You're always free to add me, or Instagram, or YouTube. Either one of those, you can talk to me anytime you want. I'm pretty friendly. I'm not gonna turn anybody away. So yeah.
And what is it? Is it DJ Selfie? Like, what is it? What's your
Yeah,
handles?
at DJ Selfie on Instagram, and you can search me on Facebook too. I'm pretty easy to find there. You know.
So no, man. So like I said, man. Like I said, DJ Sophie. What was your producer name? Atronics. What was it?
No, it was Audio Doc or Audio
Audio
Doctor.
doc.
Yeah, that was
Audio
my hip hop name.
audio doctor. I like it, bro. Yeah, like I said, audio doctor, aka DJ Sophie, man. I really appreciate you taking time to talk to me, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's my
Hey,
pleasure.
hey, seriously, man. Yeah, man. I can tell you're really passionate about this DJ, man. I wish you the best, man. Keep making music, bro. I'm very eager to hear that new song you told me about, man. I'm very eager to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Just give me your email and I'll send it to you when it comes out.
Hey, all right, that's awesome. I definitely
Yeah.
will, bro. I definitely will, man. um, but yeah, this will do it for this episode of the Two Liffy podcast, man. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, of course, man. No doubt, Patrick. Take it easy, bro.
All right. Have a good one.
Hey, Patrick.
All right, so hey everyone. If you made it this far to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much for just watching this. I really hope that you found value in this. My whole goal in this endeavor is to give a voice to people, to dancers, and to give value to the dance community. So if I'm not giving value, it's kind of pointless. So I strongly urge you to please comment and let me know where I can improve, what I need to do better, what I'm doing wrong, and hopefully what I'm doing right. But my overall goal is I want to give content. I want to be helpful. So please let me know where I can improve upon. I'm new to all this, so I'm learning as I go. So I need like feedback. Please comment and just let me know how I can improve. I would greatly appreciate that. That means the world to me, just to be able to interact with you all, have a conversation with you, and just see what you like and what you don't like. That means the world to me. I love interacting with you all. It means so much to me. But yeah, thank you so much for making it this far into the video. I gotta say, please leave a like, subscribe. If you don't like it, then let me know why not. Hit the down like button, hit the unlike button. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.